Hey, good day, everybody. How the heck are you? How are your eyes? Because today was the eclipse, the Great American Eclipse of 2017. For me, it was a kind of anticlimactic. But we're off subject here. I got a question. How are you operating your business? Is it sole proprietorship? Is it incorporated? Or is it an LLC? I'd really like to know. So if you'd let me know down below, I would really like to know your thoughts on each one of those. If you're a sole proprietor, what your thoughts on that? If you're an LLC, what your thoughts on that? And if you're incorporated, etc. All right. So let me know. Anyway, I really want to know about what you guys chose, sole proprietorship, incorporated, or LLC. Why you chose those over one another. And today we're going to be talking about what is a sole proprietorship, what is an incorporated, and what is an LLC, and how we're going to file an LLC for your business. All right, guys, so stay tuned right after this. Hi guys, I'm Jae Burnham, and this is the Real Jae Burnham Show. So glad to have you here each and every day, where I'm going to teach you how to start, run, and build your own successful businesses. So let's get right into it, movers and shakers. All right. So one of the biggest questions I get from the guys who want to start up a moving business is, should I form an LLC, or should I get a DBA, or what is the corporation status? What should I do, and how do I file it? And that's all a very, very good question. But let me get started on this conversation by saying, first, I am not an attorney. I cannot give you legal advice. I am not an accountant. I cannot give you legally accounting advice. If you're looking for that kind of information, please find a licensed practitioner in those fields and ask them their question. That said, because I am not neither an accountant or an attorney, what I'm going to tell you is basically based on my experience and what I did, right? I'm not going to try to give you any kind of advice, because when we're talking about an LLC or incorporation and so on and so forth, we're getting into the fields of accounting and legalities. And I am not an accountant nor an attorney, so I don't want to get involved in that, because, well, then you can come back and sue me. And anyway, it's right here in this video, so therefore I told you not to do it, and you went and did it anyway. It's on you. Sucks to be you. So follow my advice. Go talk to an attorney if you want. Let me give you a little bit of my experience and what I did. Back in 2008, when I started my moving company, I started off as a sole proprietorship. I didn't even start with a DBA. I didn't even know really the difference, what a DBA stood for. DBA is doing business as, or also known as kind of thing. It's an alias. All right. So I just started running the business. I created some name that I thought was clever and witty, and I started running my business with that. And I was successful. And then I, through my research on business and so on, I came upon DBA. Someone talked to me and mentioned what a DBA is. So I went to my county clerk's office, and if you want to do a DBA, just go to your city or county clerk's office and file a DBA. I went to my county clerk's office and filed a DBA. Cost me $10 to file this DBA. $10, and it's good, right? They did a real quick name search, and yep, there it goes. Paid my $10. Boom, off to the races. I had a DBA. All right, so that's what I did. And for the first year or two, actually 3, I was operating as a sole proprietorship, or doing business as. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the next step. I went and found an attorney, and my attorney filed LLC papers for me. Cost me like almost $700 for it. And, I had an LLC. Really, when it came right down to it, the only difference between a sole proprietorship and an LLC is you file your taxes differently. And you got to separate your incomes. When you're an LLC, you got to separate your personal and business incomes. Makes sense, right? When you're a sole proprietorship or doing business ad, they could be conjoined together like Siamese twins. All right. So then I started, I had to come up with a whole new name, which some of you guys already know that story, not getting into it here and now. So I started up a new business, And I started up again as a DBA and a sole proprietorship. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that I went filed for my limited liability corporation. I went and talked to a lovely woman. Her name is Lori Lonsdorf. I actually did a video with her early on in the YouTube scenario. So go to my very early videos and you'll see that I did an interview with Lori Lonsdorf of the Small Business Development Corporation or company or councilship or whatever. Forget what the C stands for. Always do. Never, doesn't really matter. I call it the SBDC. All right, so go to the SBDC, and there you go. And then there is an SBDC in almost every large metropolitan and state in the country. So if you can't find one, just Google it. There, you should be able to find one near you somewhere. Okay. Anyway, I went to talk to Lori. Lori said, you can file a limited liability corporation. It's very easy. Here's the paperwork. She printed it off for me, literally. And then she's also given me the link to it. She gave me the paperwork. I filled it out. Literally took me like 3 minutes to fill out the paperwork. She told me where to go and file it. I literally drove to the office to file the paperwork. It cost me $50 to file the paperwork. Now, notice the difference in prices. I got an attorney way back in the early career, like I think it was like 2010. I got an attorney, cost me $600-700. I went to Lori. She gave me the information. I filled out a piece of paper, drove to the place to do it, filed it. They gave me a filing fee of $50. Cost me $50 plus a little bit of time and some gas. Let's just be generous. Let's be liberal. Say it cost me $100. $100 versus $600. All right. So that's what I did. And one thing that Lori told me, and again, I'm not an attorney. I don't know if this is correct or not, but she said all you had to do is fill out this thing. And then I asked, well, when I did it before, this attorney, they did articles of incorporation and they did all these blah, blah, blah. She goes, no, you don't need to do all of that. That's you should do it. You need to do that eventually. But right now, all you really need to be legally to be an LLC, fill out this paper and file it. So that's what I did. I filled out that piece of paper and I went to that office. I paid my $50 and filed it. 10 days later, I get a letter saying your limited liability corporation has been filed and routed and all that good stuff. So that was my experience. So when you're coming into doing your business, you movers out there, you guys are out there, or anybody that wants to start a business, really, again, you're going to have to check with your accountant and your attorney. But if you're starting a service business, I think, especially if you're starting with really limited funds, just doing business as or a DBA or sole proprietorship is completely, utterly acceptable. I don't think you should really get yourself too involved in a limited liability corporation when you're just starting out. Get involved in your business, learn your business before you do a limited liability corporation. I am glad I did so. Had I just jumped in it, paid my money, then everything I just wouldn't have learned like I did. However, if you have the money, you could go and see an attorney. Or there's plenty of places online that you could do it. I think, especially places like LegalZoom, etc., I find them to be a little bit costly for what they actually give you. I think you're paying far more in excess for what the service they're actually providing for it. For instance, in LegalZoom, you can go do your limited liability corporation papers. All you do is fill out some little lines that they ask you some questions. You fill it out, you give the name, so on and so forth. Then you pay with a credit card or debit card for their services. 10 days later, if you file for, you wanted something really fast, or a month or so later, you've got your paperwork. It's all boilerplate, really there's nothing specific or special about it, and they charge you $600, $700, $800 or whatever it is, but it's expensive. For what they actually do, I don't actually see the value and going to some places like LegalZoom or some of these other places that are online. There are those, multi-level marketing places for attorney MLMs that are out there that you pay monthly for. They could do it for you. I guess you pay like a monthly fee for $50. They'll file like divorce papers and, you know, bills of sales and LLCs and, you know, kind of the minor paperwork. And you can do that. Those are available for you if you want to use one of those. Quite honestly, if you want it done cheap, you want it done quickly and cheap and right and done right, just go to a business consultant like the SBDC in your area. Talk to one of their counselors. It's all free. It's always free. You don't have to pay for their advice. They help you out. They'll tell you, okay, here's the link. You can go do it yourself. Or maybe they'll do what Lori did for me and actually just print you off the piece of paper and you can run with it from there. All right. So my suggestion, I won't say my suggestion. What I did is, because I'm a service business, I started off with a DBA. Now, if you're in a product kind of business, it might be beneficial if you did get your limited liability corporation papers first, because then you can, once you get that, then you can get what's called an EIN or it's an EIN number. It's basically employment identification number, I believe it's called. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it's called, an employer or employer identification number. Basically, it's your social security number for your business. You get your LLC, then you get your EIN number, and then you can get your insurance and start hiring people and progress that way. It could be a hassle. Excuse me. It could be a hassle if you get your EIN number before you get your LLC. Just requires a little bit more paperwork, etc. All right. So, what is best for you? I think if you're a service employer like a movers, just start with a DBA first, guys. Don't make it too involved. Don't get so enamored with, oh, I got to do this. What you're starting in is you got to have before you can do kind of syndrome, and that's not true. Just get out there, start doing, then you can have, right? The cycle is be, do, have, not have, do, be, all right? You're starting off with what you got to have before you can do, then you can be. And that's the wrong flow of the cycle, all right? You got to be, then do, then you can have. Make sense? All right, guys. That's my experience getting LLC. Again, I'm not an attorney, nor am I an accountant. So if you want legal or accounting representation, please check out your local network or Yellow Pages or Chambers of Commerce and get a referral to a good, competent business lawyer and a good accountant. All right? I'm not going to get into those fields. I am not one. And I'm not trying to give you legal or accounting advice with this video. There. Now I've protected my ass. I've covered my ass. If you follow my advice and it doesn't work out for you, why were you listening to me anyway? Duh. Ooh. No, I'm joking. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to my show. If you like me, give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot with my videos. Make sure you share this with all your family and friends. And, of course, don't forget, subscribe to this channel. All right, movers and checkers, thank you for coming. Bye-bye. Have a great day.